What's up guys, it's Average Owl making average content for the average viewer, and today I want to answer the question that I have been hearing a lot. Can you rush in Modern Warfare? And as well as this, I want to offer you guys the class setup that I have been using with pretty high success rate. And hopefully, using these tips, you too can run around and stick a massive middle finger up to all those soy boy beta campers. Before we go on, I'd just like to ask you guys to comment down below your favourite gun in the game so far. Also, if you're new around here and enjoy this content, it would honestly make my day if you would consider subscribing. Right, so as I've said before in previous videos, trying to rush in Modern Warfare can feel like a real uphill battle. It seems like no matter how good you were in previous Call of Duties, every corner you turn you are met by someone doing their best impression of a fucking table lamp and you are set back to spawn looking like a bulldog chewing a wasp. Now, I'll be completely open and honest with you. At the point of me recording this, I have about 19 hours played in the game, and for the first 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 of these hours, I was struggling to even go positive. Now for me, and I'm sure many other people must feel the same, this just wasn't normal for how I usually perform, even if it was only release day at 2 o'clock in the morning. So it became clear quite quickly that I was going to have to adopt this new pace of Call of Duty. Now, I've seen a lot of people really going in on the game saying that it's just a camp fest and that they think that the game is trash. Now I get it. If you're used to being a semi-competent player and now you have to just start playing a new game that you have been excited for months, and then every game you play you are getting slaughtered like ants in a disturbed child's treehouse when he found his old magnifying glass, it can be very frustrating. However, I think this is a great opportunity for you to see the positives in this. For years, Call of Duty has been the same thing. Reused 3-lane maps, reskinned recoilless weapons, and a skill gap that has been hammered into the ground by specialist equipment and free kills left, right and fucking centre. Now, we have a COD that you have to learn again. And for me, that's really exciting. Now the general meta I'm seeing so far tends to be a lot of people playing passively with assault rifles, usually the M4A1. Now don't get me wrong when I say passive, I don't mean these guys are just hiding in an obscure corner somewhere. I mean they are still playing the objective, but they are holding lines of sight and tend to be engaging in more mid to long range gunfights. And this can be fun, and at the moment is by far the best way for you to get consistent results. But what if that's not for you? What if you want to play more aggressive? Can you rush in Modern Warfare? Well, the answer is yes. Well, kinda. The traditional style of running around like a headless chicken just isn't gonna work like it used to, and this is due to a number of different variables. Firstly, the standard ADS time, or aim down sight time, is a lot slower than in Call of Duty of yesteryear. So it means that quickly snapping onto a target from your hip takes like half a second longer than what we're used to, and in a game where the TTK is this fast, that can mean that if your opponent is pre-aiming a corner, which many people will be, they will take the gunfight, hands down, 100 out of 100 times. In addition to this, the sprint out time, that being the time it takes you to shoot after you sprint, is super slow. Coming off of the back of Black Ops 4 where the most used perk was Gung Ho, now if you sprint around a corner and there is an enemy the other side, you have less hope of killing them than Gary Glitter has at getting a job as a lunch lady. And finally, the other thing that is going to hinder your ability is the volume of footsteps. Honestly, in this game, people sound like a herd of elephants being ridden by a pack of Johnny Vegas clones. They are so fucking loud. This means that even crouch walking around a corner creates enough sound to give you away. So how do you do it? How do you rush in Modern Warfare, I hear you cry? Well, I have found by far my most success has come from using this or variations of this class setup. So let's talk about it. Now I'm going to go off script here, so bear with me if I start rambling a bit, I am known for doing that. What I want to show you guys is this class setup right here, the MP5. So if we look at my attachments, I've gone for a few. Now you might see that I am weapon level 57, so some of these attachments you won't have unlocked yet, but you can still use variations of these and get very good results if you're willing to put that grind and that effort in. So first off, let's look at my stock. The first stock you're going to unlock is this Forged Tack Ultralight one, which is really good and is sort of the same sort of thing for what we're trying to achieve here. However, a bit further down the line, you're going to get this, the FFS Close Quarters stock, and this thing is fucking killer. Your aim down sight speed is reduced to a fraction of a second, meaning that you can pop onto targets quicker than you can say, fuck another camper. Sorry, I'm not on script, so my jokes aren't as well planned as they usually are. Anyway, moving on, we have the rear grip. I'm using the stippled grip tape. This increases your aim down sight speed, but most importantly, it increases your sprint to fire speed. Now, I'm not sure about other weapons, but from my own personal experience, I haven't been able to find this exact perk on hardly anything. So being able to sprint to fire quicker is going to give you a massive advantage in these close, quick, short range gunfights. Moving on, this one's pretty much down to personal opinion, but I'm using the 10mm auto 30 round mags. This gives you plus damage and plus range. Now this means that you can just drop people. I know a few of the things that we're going to add to this MP5 are limiting your recoil control, but honestly the recoil pattern on the MP5 is so simple that after a few hours of playing with it you will be able to master it. This is also going to slow your fire rate, reduce your recoil control, but honestly it doesn't matter. I think that this is stellar, but obviously if you want to go for the extended mag, by all means do that as well. Moving on, I've got the underbarrel Merc foregrip. Now there's a few foregrips here to use, but I don't know if it's just me, but I'm finding that this one is by far the best for me. It gives you really, really good, clear recoil control, and that hip fire accuracy is just another added bonus so that when you do come around a corner, you can start firing from the hip first, and then ADS and finish off the target. Right, moving on, and we have the crown jewel of this class setup. Honestly, this is bloody amazing. So we've got the subsonic integral suppressor. Lightweight aluminium suppressor decreases muzzle velocity to subsonic speeds, providing a smooth recoil, low sound signature, and no visible traces. So what this is going to do is it's going to slow your bullets right down, meaning that if you are trying to lead a target from a long range, you're going to have to lead them by quite a bit. But if you're trying to do that, you're using the wrong gun anyway. What this does give you though is obviously sound suppression, no visible traces, aim down sight speed, and no enemy skulls. So let's dissect that a little bit. First of all, no visible traces. What that basically means is that the little lines you see coming out of the gun aren't going to be visible to the enemy. So if you manage to sneak up on a group of enemies, they're not going to see where your bullets are coming from, making it a lot easier to be stealthy. Next up, we have no enemy skulls, and similarly, what this means is usually in Call of Duty when you kill someone, you will see an enemy skull, or the enemy will see an enemy skull where their friend has just died. If you're using this attachment, they won't see that, which means you can literally, potentially, take out a whole load of enemies without them even realising you're there. Right, let's move on because I'm aware that this is dragging on a little bit. Secondary, it doesn't really matter. I don't even use my secondary that much, so just use what you feel comfortable with. Lethal grenade, I'm using a frag grenade, and for my tactical, I'm using a flash grenade at the moment, but I'm only level 45 at the moment, so I'm really holding out to unlock this, the stim. 9 times out of 10, I'm finding that when I'm shot at, I'm hiding for ages to regain my health. The health regain in this game is super slow, so as soon as I get this stim, I'm unlocking it straight away and slapping it on this class because that is really going to help with the aggressive play. Next we got perks. I know people are using their field upgrades to get their ammo, but for this class setup I didn't want to do that, so I'm using scavenger. It's pretty easy anyway because you're already right up in these guys' faces, so walking over their body isn't going to be much of an issue. Perk 2, I'm using Ghost. At this point in the game, Ghost is a crutch for me because I don't want to appear on the enemy radar at all. And with it, in this game, unlike Black Ops 4 where you had to literally be at full sprint for it to even work, you were just off-grid 100% of the time, which is awesome. And next up, we have Tune Up. Reduces the charge time of field upgrades by 33%. Now, Spotter or Tracker might be quite good on this class as well, but for the way that I want to play it, and I'll explain that in a second, Tune Up seems to be the best. So the last bit, and this bit really does make the class setup, is my field upgrade. I'm using Dead Silence. Now prior to today, Dead Silence wasn't the best it could be. You could still hear the footsteps from reasonably far away, but it still was a lot quieter. But today, they have patched it and given it a huge buff. Now, when you use Dead Silence, you are dead silent, meaning that you can sneak up behind enemies and they will have no idea you're there. And in this game where everyone is sound whoring like a little bitch, that is invaluable. On top of that, when you activate Dead Silence, it also gives you this slight increase in field of view, meaning that you can see slightly more things in your peripherals. But as well as that, it does actually make you run faster. I thought it was just an optical illusion at first, but the Exclusive Ace, a great Call of Duty YouTuber, did some extensive testing and found out that it does in fact increase your movement speed. Right, so there we have it. That's my class setup for a more run and gun style of play. If you've enjoyed this video, then I would love it if you'd hit that thumbs up icon. It only takes a fraction of a second, but means the world to me. Let's see if we can hit that 69 likes finally. And that's it for today. I'm Average Joe. Peace.